Yes, indeed. Mr. Bola Bakare joins us now. He's of the Truth Be Told Network, and we'll continue our discussion on this security matter we've got in our hands. Thank you for coming on this morning.
I'm glad to be here.
Well, the last speaker did talk about the fact that he sees some sort of double standards with respect to the declaration of the state of emergency. He thinks that you can't declare a state of emergency, for instance, and still have political leadership in charge. That, to him, will just whittle down this entire fight. So maybe by extension, do you even think that the president should then approach the National Assembly seeking to say, okay, could we let the governor just stand down for 3 months and we get this sorted over and done with, if you agree with his comment in the first place?
Thank you, my brother. And once again, I'm glad to be here. The situation we have on our hands, we have to look at it from the two sides of the fence. The situation is both political and security inclined. Ab initio, I will call Boko Haram homegrown because it was the political class that fired the embers of so-called political miscreants that finally became Boko Haram. Little wonder the president said he's got Boko Haram in his list, because it was politically motivated. But the bottom line I want to look at is on two fronts. How did we get here? And what is the solution to it? Honestly, let me paint you a scenario, a family scenario of a father, a mother, and a kid. If the kid goes to the father and say, hey dad, I want this, the father says, shut up. The kid goes. He comes back the next day. Hey dad, I want this. I want this. The dad smacks him. He goes. It gets to an extent the kid becomes traumatized. And maybe the kid runs chores in the house, like going on errands, doing dishes. Because the kid is now traumatized, he breaks dishes in the house. He runs wrong errands. If you're listening good, transfer that to Nigeria. The Nigerian state, as the father of the house, is not treating we as Nigerians well. I'll start with the Niger Delta. Nigeria robbed the Niger Delta. When they talked, we shouted them down. They talked again, we whacked them. God bless Kenule. When they started breaking dishes, we listened. I will call that the Niger Delta statement. Now we are having a northeastern Nigerian statement, because the north has been neglected by the family I call Nigeria.
How?
Look at the situation on ground. Look at all the places that were hit, Christians and Muslims alike. In Nigeria, we respect our monarchs. They went there. So I select the element of religion, factor in the element of politics, and factor in the element of governance, because that is the basis. If they can hit everybody without bias, because in the Niger Delta they had pipelines to hit, they had people to kidnap. They are not nice things though.
Yeah, but in this analogy that you've given, because in the Niger Delta, part of the grounds was you had oil pollution, you had the source of livelihood being taken away. It was polluted, the cleaning was not done as it ought to have been done.
You're alluding to what I just said, that we rob them rather than giving them what belongs to them or taking care of them as it goes.
That's on the one hand. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, in the north, what is the case here?
It's the same thing. We robbed the Niger Delta. We neglected the north. Everybody says it. It's a common knowledge that the north is backward. They are part of us.
Is that the fault of Nigeria or the leadership that had been in that region for a while?
It's the fault of leadership, which becomes a national factor.
So we should, as a nation, should have actually checkmated those who were directly in charge of leadership in the region when they were being neglected. That's what you're trying to say, isn't it?
That's right. That's right. And those are part of the political class. And those are the people in power. And those are the people that rule Nigeria that goes with an analogy of saying the head of the family.
But you see, the thing is, the picture you painted, the Niger Deltans had things they were asking for specifically. But these guys are destroying everything.
They are making a statement.
What statement are you making when you destroy schools? You do not want education? And even at that, the Niger Delta situation was, when the government says, let's talk, they came forward to talk.
The government has put forward, let me come in there.
Okay.
The talk, I'll go back to the family scenario again. The talk became possible because the mother in the house was trying to protect the cockroach she got from her grandparents. That was why she was in a position to go tell the father, you better listen to this kid, which was what our damn VP did. He was part of the family, and he now went and said, let me listen to this kid and let me tell the head of the family. When the Boko Haram started, they asked for some people, and Nigerians didn't even wait for the sentence to even finish before they said, oh, little wonder, you were behind it. That's why you're doing this.
But then, remember that some of the people that the Boko Haram asked should represent them, some of them turned down that opportunity. They refused to represent the Boko Haram.
Honestly, it has gotten to a head. Ab initio, I hate to mention names, but it's common knowledge. They asked for General Buhari, and the man said, no, that is not in my purview. I'm not that kind of person. But we're forgetting that when they called our now president, it didn't feel good about going. But people said, they are your people. You go listen to them. They will listen to you better. Buhari refused. But now we've gotten to this stage. And I believe what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Unfortunately, how to put that in place becomes a problem.
Okay, let's attempt to explore solutions.
Okay, good.
And possible suggestions, because Ahmed Suleiman also talked about the fact that he doesn't believe that all the security agencies we have in this country are just sitting there and doing nothing. He thinks that they must be providing some sort of intelligence. And as a matter of fact, there's also another follow-up here. Hassan says he thinks that too many cover-ups. Should Nigerians believe that none of the arrested Boko Haram suspects have said nothing? So what's happening to all the intelligence, all the information that have been gathered about this situation?
It all boils down to the political expediency involved in this matter. I once listened to an ex-security personnel who said, if you unleash the military on them, we had that experience before, I don't want to say it. If you unleash the military on them, they will flatten the place. But the thing is, there's going to be a high degree of what is called collateral damage. Both the good and the bad people will go pay for it. But there are instances, there is nothing you do on earth, even good intents, that's usually collateral damage. So if we're looking at that, we should kind of play down on the degree of collateral damage as against the result of what we're going to get, and then go ahead with it. But like I am saying, we're looking at solutions as we speak. I am saying one thing. We've expended close to about over 300 billion on the Niger Delta situation in terms of amnesty, in terms of pipeline protection and this and that. My statement, my Northeast statement now, not the Niger Delta statement, says we can do same for these people, because honestly, the people backing them, the politicians backing them are seeing dollars.
So you think they're getting backings from politicians?
For God's sake, for God's sake. Nobody can come into your home, nobody can come into an area without an inside information. That is why it's difficult to flatten them militarily. It's difficult. Some people are waiting for that maybe 300 billion or 400 billion or another ministry of Northeast or whatever. It's a money-spinning gambit.
Allow me to put this news report into this so that you can continue. I'm sure you also heard the story about the military who were pulled out just before the attack on the school.
That shows that's a kind of intel. Don't you ever, one of the best rules of a good fight is don't you ever underestimate your enemy. We are not in a position to underestimate these people. We are in a position to look for solutions. And honestly, I would like to say one thing on air. that check out. If you're out there, I know you go through the media because you get across to us via the media. I'm not an Hausa person. I am a Yoruba man. But the little Hausa I understand, that please, Dalla Nabi. For the sake of the kids, you have kids too. You have mothers, you have brothers, you have fathers. Look for a way for Nigerians to sit down. You can wake up one day, point a finger at a particular Nigerian, be it me, be it Chamberlain, be it Sulai. They are Nigerians. They are truthful Nigerians. Because I look at them as being members of Truth Be Told Network. And I am telling you the truth. Look for somebody. Please, don't let that not be, and let's go move ahead from there.